great I get on stage now. Is this not amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it amazing how cigarette smoking is becoming illegal, but marijuana is becoming decriminalized? Now, do you know that in a few years, I'm going to have to pretend that I'm getting high in order to enjoy a Camel Light? Yeah. I'm going to have to take off the filter, twist the ends up for the next hour and a half, act like my IQ dropped 80 points. But I can do that. Never understood the concept about gift certificates. For the same $50, my friend could have gotten me $50. I wish I had the cash, you know? If I get bored sometimes at a party, I slip myself a roofie. I always have fun after that. I used to be a big beer drinker. Now, if you were to ask me what's my favorite beer, I probably would have said, what am I doing? I think that I'm my avatar has a mind of its own. I don't know what my avatar... Anyway, I probably would have said, I don't know, the fifth beer, I guess. And that's the one that makes me good looking and clever and wise. And those are all the important qualities to have when it's noon and you're drinking alone on your couch. So, yeah, this one.
Goddamn.
This drunk Irishman staggering home with a pint of booze on his pocket. And he slips and he falls real heavily, struggling to his feet afterwards. He feels something wet running down his leg.
No.
Please, God, he says, please, God, let it be blood. Hey, did you hear about the depressed proctologist? He's been feeling down in the dumps.
So ugly, my proctologist puts his finger in my mouth.
Oh, God. The dentist, an electrician, and a carpenter decide to play a practical joke on their best friend on his wedding night. I'll loosen some joints on the bed so it collapses when he's making love, says the carpenter. Okay. I'll hotwire the mattress so they feel immense heat when they're making love, says the electrician. Well, the dentist says, those are good ideas, but my contribution's going to be a big surprise. So the next day, the new husband comes to the diner to meet his friends, and he says, I congratulate you guys for making the bed heat up and collapse, but I'm going to kill whichever one of you put Novocaine in the massage oil.
Nice.
Why are we allowed to put our friends down as a reference? I mean, seriously, they're always going to have your back. You should put you should have to put your enemies on there, right? There'd be such a better phone call, you know? Hey, do you think Kyle would be a good guy to hire? Yeah, if you want him to fuck your wife, yeah, he'd be great. Yeah. Well, the Reverend John Fuzz, he was a pastor of a small congregation in a little Pennsylvania town. One day he's walking down Main Street and he happened to notice a female member of the congregation. She's sitting in a town bar drinking a beer. And the Reverend thought, this is so sinful. Not something the congregation should do. So he walked through the open door of the bar and sat down. And he says, Mrs. Fitzgerald, this is no place for a member of my congregation. Why don't you let me take you home? She says, sure. Obviously very drunk. And when she stood up from the bar, she started to weave back and forth, and the Reverend realized she had way too much to drink. And he grabbed hold of her arms to steady her. When he did, they both lost their balance, and they tumbled to the floor. And after they rolled around on the floor a few seconds, the Reverend wound up lying on top of her, and her skirts hiked up to her waist. And the bartender looks over the bar and is like, hey, here, buddy, we won't have any of that carrying on in this bar. And the Reverend looked up and he says, you don't understand, I'm Pastor Fuzz. And the bartender said, well, if you're that far in the game, you might as well get done.
Pastor Fuzz. That's a good one.
That's great.
Guy asked me to go camping on vacation. Camping. That's the dumbest fucking vacation I ever heard of in my life. What? I'm going to work all fucking year so I can go out and pretend that I'm homeless? Are you kidding me? Blad sees a flyer on a bulletin board and it says, cruise, only $5. She goes to the address on the flyer. She gives the receptionist $5, and the receptionist nods to a burly man who's reading a newspaper, and he walks over to the blonde and he knocks her unconscious. The blonde wakes up tied to a log floating down a river. To her right, she sees one of her blonde friends. Do you think they're going to serve food on this trip? She asked, and her friend says, they didn't last year.
Oh, Jesus.
Two guys get pulled over while drinking and driving. The driver tells his friend, peel the labels off these beer bottles. We'll each stick one on our forehead. Now shove all the bottles under the front seat. Let me do the talking. Cop walks up, shines a flashlight in the car. Have you been drinking, he asks. No, sir. Oh, gosh. Am I off the stage again?
No,
you're
okay.
You moved a little, but not off the stage, though.
Okay. Have you guys been drinking? No, sir, the drunk says. We haven't had a thing to drink tonight. Well, then what on earth are those beer labels doing on your foreheads? Oh, we're both alcoholics, says the drunk. We're both on the patch.
Patch? Okay.
These are actual driver education exam answers people gave. Question is, who has the right of way when four cars approach a four-way stop at the same time? Answer. Pickup truck with a gun and the bumper sticker that says, guns don't kill people, I do.
Oh.
My grandma, she says she never gets any phone calls. So for her birthday, I put one of those how's my driving bumper stickers on her car. Now the phone's ringing off the walls now. This gentleman, he sits next to a priest on an airplane, and he sees the priest doing a crossword puzzle. Time passes, and the priest says, excuse me, sir, but do you know a four-letter word that describes a woman, and it ends in U-N-T? And the gentleman thinks, and he goes, I believe the word you're looking for is aunt. And the priest says, oh, you're right, that fits too. Would you happen to have an eraser? If I had woke my dad at 2 a.m. and told him he had to come pick me up because I was too drunk to drive home, my dad would have said, well, try anyway. How many beers you had? 6? What are you, pussy? Get in that car. Pick up your mom on the way home. This blonde was taking a helicopter lesson, and the instructor says, I'll radio you every 1,000 feet to see how you're doing. At 1,000 feet, the instructor radioed her, and she said she's doing great. At 2,000 feet, he says, how you doing? She says, still doing well. Right before she got to 3,000 feet, the propeller stopped. She twirled to the ground. The instructor ran to where she crashed, pulled her out of the helicopter, and he said, what went wrong? And the blonde said, at 2,500 feet, I started to get cold, so I turned that big fan off up there.
Oh, God.
Cop pulls over a driver and tells him that he's just won $5,000 in a safety competition, all because he was wearing his seatbelt. God, I wish that would happen to me. What are you going to do with this prize money, the officer says. And the man says, well, I guess I'll go to driving school and get my license. His wife says, officer, don't listen to him. He's a smart aleck when he's drunk. The guy in the back seat pops out from under the blanket and says, I knew we wouldn't get that far in the stolen car. Just then there's a knock from the trunk and the voice goes, we over the border yet? Why do we need 24 handicapped parking spaces at Home Depot? Could we just talk about this? If a guy can spackle his bathroom, lay a pipe, and put up gutters, don't you think he can walk the extra 30 feet from the parking lot? Seriously?
Yeah.
And I think my car horn should sound like a gunshot. Because the sound of a horn isn't representing my road rage properly. I've never been angry with someone and had the urge to toot a trumpet. Seriously. And my last one is, I read an article that said your car reflects your personality. I don't have a car. Oh.
Give it up for Wynott, everyone.
Hey, that's
Wynott.
good.
That's good.